hopefully the audio is okay and everything. Yeah, so it's already broadcast. Audio is good. Checking. I know the music is kind of loud right now. Let's get started with this to hear how it sounds.
Now, public health keeps a close eye on mosquitoes and other vectors that spread disease. Yeah. A simulated mass casualty crash prepares first responders for major incidents in remote areas. And classic characters come to life at the San Bernardino County Library. I'm Martha Guzman Hurtado. Let's get started.
When you say it, you're sat. Like, you mean that's good? You're satisfied? Also, like, is my voice at like a good volume to speak over the video? I think it's pretty good. I think it's okay. In our first story, vector control experts at environmental. All right, let's see. Let's see how this sounds. What do you think? When I turn my head? Okay. I will stay still and project into the mic. Yeah. Okay. So if it hits a little bit into the yellow, I think it's okay. I hope. Okay. Welcome in, everyone. We're gonna be going over a couple of things today. Sorry I haven't streamed in a long time, but we're back at it, so let's just hop right in. Starting off with a little news piece that the San Bernardino County uploaded. It's just a little like their own type of PR type of thing where they are like because obviously there's no news that they could go on for real. So like they do their own news, and I mean that's cute and all, but let's take a look at it and see how it looks.
We'd like to thank the San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors for their support of this program. In this episode of San Bernardino County News Now, public health keeps a close eye on mosquitoes and other vectors that spread disease. A simulated mass casualty crash prepares first responders for major incidents in remote areas. And classic characters come to life at the San Bernardino County Library. I'm Martha Guzman Hurtado. Let's get started. Warming spring temperatures and standing water from recent rain can create ideal breeding grounds for mosquitoes. In our first story, vector control experts at Environmental Health Services discuss preventative measures to protect against mosquitoes and other vectors that spread disease.
Mosquitoes start breeding when nighttime temperatures reach above about 50 degrees. So once it passes that point, that is when you know it's mosquito season.
San Bernardino County Vector Control Program's mission is to
subtitles.
Protect individuals from vector.
Let's run that back.
We'd like to thank the San Bernardino.
Today.
Whoops.
We'd like to thank
Fumbling it here,
We'd like
fumbling
to
it.
thank the San Bernardino County Board of
There we go.
Supervisors for their support of this program. In this episode of San Bernardino County News Now, public health keeps a close eye on mosquitoes and other vectors that spread disease. A simulated mass casualty crash prepares first responders for major incidents in remote areas. And classic characters come to life at the San Bernardino County Library. I'm Martha Guzman Hurtado. Let's get started.
All right, thank you, Martha Guzman Hurtado.
Warming spring temperatures and standing water from recent rain can create ideal breeding grounds for mosquitoes. In our first story, vector control experts at Environmental Health Services discuss preventative measures to protect against mosquitoes and other vectors that spread disease.
Mosquitoes start breeding when nighttime temperatures reach above about 50 degrees. So once it passes that point, that is when you know it's mosquito season.
San Bernardino County Vector Control Program's mission is to protect individuals from vectors and vector-borne diseases. Services include surveillance, public outreach, and it includes treatment for mosquitoes.
Our jurisdiction is from Fontana all the way to the Colorado River. We have roughly 3,000 to 4,000 water sources that we check on a regular basis. I'm checking the water for any mosquito larvae. I do find mosquito pupa in here. Once we find
Show us what the
source and we
pupa
find
looks
larvae
like.
in there, then we go ahead and treat it. We use DPH, EPA approved products, bacteria based, gives it a longer residual.
A female mosquito, once they've gotten a full blood meal, can lay about 100 eggs at a time. It's going to be about a 7 to 10 day process from that egg stage to full adult.
When I first started doing vector control about 20 years ago, we were predominantly dealing with Culex mosquitoes, which were our primary vectors of West Nile virus. But now we're also seeing a great deal of Aedes aegypti, the ankle biter mosquito, and it can vector
Ankle biters,
dengue
I think we've
fever,
all
it can vector
experienced those around
chikungunya,
here.
Yellow fever, and Zika virus as well. Aedes aegypti can breed in something as small as a bottle cap. We need everybody on our team.
To prevent mosquito breeding, just check for water sources, green swimming pools, potted plants. They have the saucer on the bottom that have that water. Every 3 days, just dump that out. I've even found residents that save cans and they have a trash can or something. Those little cans now have water and are producing mosquitoes. So cover them up or dump it out. You know, that's your part of doing mosquito control.
Mosquito and other vector control resources are available on the San Bernardino County Environmental Health Services website, ehs.sbcounty.gov, or by calling 1-800-442-2283. Next, we welcome Chairman of the Board.
Wait. Okay. Recap on the Recap on mosquitoes. That's pretty cool. Our county's doing a good job at letting us know that they're taking care of mosquitoes. I wish they would link the website in the description. Yo, Martha, link the website in the description. Let's go back and see the website on screen. ehs.sbcounty.gov. All right, let's see. Hopefully that's the right webpage. Yeah, come on. EHS, SB County. Maybe internet sucking. Okay. You know what? Let me try going on my phone just in case. Let's see if this works. All right, so it's ehs.sbcounty.gov. All right, all right. Okay, okay. It's just my computer. It works on my phone. You can sign up for alerts. I don't know why. Okay, so environmental health services, pretty cool. I don't know why it's not working on my desktop. Okay, anyways, continue with the
Or by
video.
calling 1-800-442-2283. Next, we welcome Chairman of the Board, 3rd District Supervisor Don Rao, who has the floor in this month's District Minute.
Dang, our favorite, Don Rao.
Thank you, Martha. I am Supervisor Don Rao, and I represent the 3rd District. Last month, I participated in a mass casualty incident drill at Joshua Tree National Park.
Oh,
This year's
no.
exercise simulated a traffic
no.
collision involving a tour bus
Oh,
and focused on
no.
challenges posed by incidents in remote areas.
What?
A large-scale effort brought together
What is this? What
multiple agencies,
is
enhancing
this?
emergency preparedness and coordination. We also recently had a successful resource simulated a
on.
traffic collision involving a tour bus.
Oh my god, they had fake blood. They had fake blood for this simulated incident. All right. People playing pretend back here. That's cool.
And focused on challenges
This lady, she has blood on her shirt. That's dedication. Is she an actor? Is she a county employee? Is she a volunteer? Wild. Absolutely wild. Okay. But
posed by incidents in
this guy, he's really hamming it up with the fake hand.
remote areas.
Oh, dang. This is wild. How much did this cost? Simulated emergency. How much did this cost? Okay, I'm glad we at least got video evidence of it because it's wild.
This large-scale effort brought together multiple agencies,
Oh,
enhancing
man.
emergency preparedness.
U.S. Park Ranger, Combat Center, Fire Department. Oh, it's 20. Hold on. Let's enhance. Come on. Oh, that's about as big as it's gonna get. Okay, it looks like it's from 29 Palms. Oh, this is so funny. Okay, well, I'm glad that they did that.
Preparedness and coordination. We also recently had a successful resource fair in Needles at the historic El Garces train depot. More than 100 people showed up to learn about community services and meet with employers about career opportunities.
Cool.
Lastly, our Veterans Affairs Department continues to reach out across the district to help veterans get their benefits. The VA holds office hours in Joshua Tree on the 2nd Wednesday of each month and in Barstow on the 3rd Thursday of each month.
All right.
To keep
For
up with the
veterans
latest
out
3rd
there.
District news, be sure to visit my website and subscribe to our newsletter.
Visit her website.
Thank you, Chairman Rao. This summer, teens and young adults will have an opportunity to get hands-on experience exploring careers with San Bernardino County.
Hands-on employment, like internships.
Applications are being accepted for Spark, a paid summer youth employment
No,
program that starts in
paid,
June.
dang.
Youth ages 16 to 24 will be matched with jobs that suit their interests, and they'll learn about essential workplace skills that pave the way for future career success. Seats are limited. Applications must be submitted online. Learn how you can ignite your future with Spark. Apply on the San Bernardino County Human Resources website, hr.sbcounty.gov. A month-long celebration of classic literary characters is bringing families together at San Bernardino Library branch sites in every corner of our region.
Oh, man.
Let's take a look.
Through the month of
Yes,
March,
let's
San Bernardino
please
County
take a
Library
look.
is celebrating classic characters throughout the county library system. Read Across America is really popular for the first week of March, but we wanted to take that one step further and have a celebration all month long.
Today's our special characters event. We're having a party with Frog and Toad. These events make
Oh,
literacy
that's so
exciting
cute.
'cause they just engage the children.
For us to be able to have these kinds of activities where, we could check out books to the kids and have fun in that process is so important. having access to materials is one of the biggest first steps to get people reading.
The library is an integral part of the community, and it's educational, it's recreational. We want to let them know that it is fun to be in the library.
Bring your family, your friends, your neighbors. They have arts and crafts, they have story time, they have painting, activities for the
homie
whole
really
family.
selling.
Kids can come to the library to have fun, have exciting things to do, come to maybe meet their friends, or do
Aw.
activities.
Every
Yeah.
time we come, I feel like Lila makes a friend. And so we always meet new people in the community.
I like coming to the library because they have like a lot of good books that are very interesting and spend time with my family.
My favorite thing is just
100%.
the peacefulness when we read our books. It's just so fun.
The library is more than just books. It's a
Oh,
place where
man.
little kids
Okay.
can come and do a toddler boot camp and shake
Yeah,
all their
you know
sillies
what?
up. And it's such
If
a fantastic thing to be able to provide.
If drag queens who are professional, people who dress up and act out things can't do that, then we have to have just normal people dress up and act out things. But okay.
To the community.
To learn about upcoming programs and events happening at your local county library branch, visit library.sbcounty.gov.
Again,
Now for some
put
upcoming
the,
events
the,
to mark on
put
your
the links
calendar.
inside this
Join us in the high
description.
desert at the Victor Valley Museum on Saturday, April 5th. To get up
Yo,
close with
Victor
creepy
Valley
crawlies.
Museum. That's a shout out to all the great people that work at the Victor Valley Museum. You guys are some of the most dedicated people, and shout out to y'all. Bugfest looks like it happened yesterday. Unfortunately, I missed it. Sorry, no ad. Arthropalooza happened. It's a pretty cool event where they have a bunch of people who are passionate about insects, passionate about arthropods, I guess. I don't know. I just like to call it Bugfest because that makes the most sense to me. Yeah, shout out to them. They had their Bugfest. Cool.
At Arthropalooza, the ultimate bug fest. Regular museum admission applies. Regional parks will host Easter egg hunts on April 20th at Cucamonga Guasti, Glen Helen,
shout out to
Mojave
Cucamonga
Narrows,
Guasti
Prado,
Park.
and Yucaipa Regional Parks. Egg hunts will begin rain or shine at 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Calico Ghost Town will also host a full-day celebration with live entertainment, the Easter Bunny, egg hunts, prizes, and more from 9 to 5. Plus, experience a cosmic adventure at Mojave River Forks
right,
and
so
learn about the stars.
Pretty cool. Lots of fun stuff happening in the county. I'm glad they are kind of doing better at advertising it for themselves. Let's see how many people viewed this. Got 22 thumbs up, 620 views. That's on par. Some of their videos only get like 800. So, I mean, who am I to talk? There's only one person in chat right now, so. All right, cool. So let's go on to our next topic that we're going to cover, which is the most recent SB County Board of Supervisors that I have not seen yet. Just go to their page. All right, from 12 days ago. We're gonna kind of speed run this a little bit because we want to get to the juicy parts. They're probably gonna play their ad again, and you know the deal. The Board of Supervisors love to have their prayer.
I feel so blessed to be able to have this opportunity to pray this morning over a county and a county organization that I have loved for so many years. So let us pray. Our Father and our God, we come before you humbly this morning because we recognize that we are but human, that you are God. You know all things, you have all power, and you have the ability to take care of the things that concern our hearts. And so we come before you boldly also, Lord, because we do have concerns. This amazing county with this amazing Board of Supervisors and CEO address issues on a daily basis that affect our community in good ways and in not so good ways. So this morning, Lord, I just pray that as their time continues, that you would give them wisdom, that you would give them faith to believe that they can do amazing things beyond which they ever would have imagined. Lord, that you would give them insight, that you would give them caring hearts, that they would see the people of this county and recognize that everyone wants the same thing, an opportunity to live, work, and play in this great county of San Bernardino.
Opportunity to live, work, and play. That's their
and be able to take care of their families the way
slogan.
that everyone in our country wants to. So Lord, we just continue to pray that you would give them whatever it is they need in order to address the agenda items for today and for the next week and the next week. Give them strength, help them to have good health. And I just pray for this amazing county, Lord, that we will have and continue to pursue a vision of having shared goals, of being in alignment with each other, no matter what region of the county it is, that we would all come together and work together to make things good as possible for all. And I pray this in Jesus' name, amen. And if you could
Amen
please join
to
me for the
that.
invocation. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the
We gotta
flag
do the
of the
Pledge
United
of
States
Allegiance
of
of
America
America.
and to the republic for which it stands,
Stands
one nation,
under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let's go.
Thank you, Diana.
All right. Let's see. Now we can put it back to a more
All right, we
normal
move on to our
fast
memorial
speed.
adjournments. This morning, on behalf of the entire Board of Supervisors, we would like to adjourn in memory of Deputy Hector Cuevas
Oh,
Jr.,
that's
who
right. I
passed away
forgot.
in the
I'm
line of
sorry.
duty.
We just don't have time for that.
Will be deeply missed, but her contribution.
Luther Trust.
Oh,
It gives you
and the
autonomy.
awards.
He allows you
Can't
to
forget
move
the
and grow.
awards. This is a lot of awards. Okay. Looks like business is starting around here. Mr. Luther looking like a villain as usual. Nothing wrong with villains. Okay. Vámonos.
We will now move on to our reports from County Council. Tom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There are no reportable items from closed session.
Oh, surprise,
And our report from our
surprise.
CEO, Luther.
All right. Good morning, Madam Chair. Just wanted to take a moment and thank Diana. I know she's running out, and we will catch her later. But just
Who's
I can't
Diana?
express enough what a wonderful woman she is, how amazing she has been for this county, and how greatly she will be missed. Thank you, and I will get you later.
Okay, maybe someone who
All
got
right,
the
that brings us
awards.
to our individual board member comments. Vice Chair Baca.
So he
Thank you,
basically
Madam
had
Chair.
no
I just want
updates
to highlight
then.
a few
Thank
things.
you.
So I just want to give
As
a shout
per
out
usual.
to Public Works. We got a request from the some constituents in regards to the Lytle Cajon Wash cleanup area. So one of the things that Public Works was able to do along with code is to deal with a lot of encampments, remove debris, and install barriers to stop future illegal access. So this is very important, especially for the San Bernardino community. The area is now safer, cleaner, and more environmentally sound. The other thing I just want to highlight, I want to thank the team for the success we had at the groundbreaking for the Kessler Park Dreamfield. It was a $3.3 million
Kessler
investment.
Park
I think we
again.
raised
I feel like
for the good
this
work
is
for
his
it, But
baby.
most of all, just the amount of success we had and how appreciative the Bloomington community was. It was great to see, Dodger legend Steve Garvey and Manny Mota to be there to support our community. But it was just a great
I
event.
just don't know who
In
Steve
addition, we were
Garvey
able to
is.
donate
I'm
$10,000
sure
to the Bloomington Little League to help.
someone
There's
amazing,
a lot of
but
need there. It was just a great event. Also, we had a meet and greet for our new deputies in the Bloomington community, and that was hosted by the Sheriff's Department and the Quality Management Group. I really want to thank the Quality Management Group, what they were able to do in one of our facilities in Bloomington. They're providing a space for deputies and the community to have meetings, to be able to use it as a workstation. It's a great partnership, and it was great to hear the concerns that the community had in regards to, crime and nuisances going on in the Bloomington community. Also want to give a shout out to Josh Dugas for having a successful mobile vet clinic tour event. It was a great event to see a long line of people taking advantage of the mobile vet clinic. And I think people don't realize the impact of this is more than just having a mobile unit. The amount of use that this mobile unit will have, it will be able to go out to cities that we contract with and provide, chipping, spading, neutering services. Also, you can have surgeries in there. And the other thing that's important to point out, in the event of a earthquake or major disaster, it has kennels inside, so if people need to store their animals. So it's just a great, valuable resource. And as we, continue to build our animal shelter, we can
I mean,
then,
100%.
deploy this throughout the community.
Everyone has
We
animals
do
around here,
contracts with
so.
cities. It's just a great resource that our cities will have and our county will have. Also want to thank, Public Works for the great work they did at the Glen Helen Nature Playground groundbreaking. I want to thank Beata Davis and her team. It was a $2.46 million investment at Glen Helen Regional Park, which is going to make significant improvements to the playground. It'll be ADA accessible, and it's just a great investment. And I appreciate the staff's work on this and the great
Agreed.
investments we continue to make throughout our county. This past Saturday, we had our fourth fishing day
That's
with the supervisor.
one
And I
good
thank
thing
the
I
probation
think
department
about
and some excellent partnerships. We're able to provide
Mr.
many
Joe
at-risk
Baca
youth
Jr.
an
He seems to
opportunity
be
to fish. I would say probably
investing
60%
a
of
lot
the
in the
kids that went had
community.
never fished before, so it was really a tremendous partnership to
You know,
provide these opportunities. And many of these kids came from
I'm
out
not
of
going to
county,
fault
not
the
just
guy.
in the 5th District. And then yesterday, I had the opportunity to highlight one of our local heroes with an interview for a community spotlight. It's Alexander Madison. He's currently just signed with the Miami Dolphins. He's going to be starting a season, but it's great to see people from our county and our community that have been resilient and have done great things, and we're looking forward to seeing the spotlight being put out. And just want to highlight some items on the agenda. Item number 46, it's a multi-way stop sign on Sterling and Marshall and Del Rosa. So this will bring safety in regards to the Del Rosa community. This was brought forth by us by one of our constituents. Item 66, this is one that's been long awaited. This is the Sheriff's Department kicking in some money, a little over $4 million in order to build the Rosina Ranch Fire Station. So this will not only be a fire station, it will also have 2,000 square feet for our sheriff deputies. The great thing is that this will not only serve the 5th district, it'll also serve the 3rd district and the Lytle Creek community.
Okay, so seems like cops and firefighters are banding together to build a place that they can both hang out together.
The county fire.
That's
And
good.
The last item is item number 72. Basically, what this is we're going to look at adding sidewalks in the Muscoy community. It's a great investment. It's a
Yep,
partnership with SBCTA.
I
Wanna
can
thank
only
them for their
imagine.
investment in the county
Muscoy is
providing,
kind of
long-needed sidewalks in the community. And just
kinda
the last
wild.
thing to highlight, I serve on the LAFCO committee, and just want to thank Luther, Trevor, and the entire team for working on this item. And basically what it is an agreement with the county of San Bernardino and the city of Colton to provide water services for this community, unincorporated Colton community. They don't have access to any water now that the city of Colton will be able to provide water for them. So I just want to thank Luther and his team for doing tremendous work on this to make this a reality. And that concludes my comments, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Supervisor Armendariz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to keep it short today. I just want to highlight just a couple of events that we're going to be having here. Hope you guys can join us on March 27th from 5 to
The
6:30.
camera was on her
We'll
for
see
way
in
too
Rancho
long.
Cucamonga. It's an opportunity for us to come together as a public and just kind of learn from each other and hear your feedback and see what's going on in the community that we can be partners or advocates with you with. Also, we're going to be having 2 pet adoption events, one on March 28th at Fontana Dog Park and one on March 30th at Mount Baldy Dog Park in Upland. Those will both be held from 4 a.m. or 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. in partnership with our county animal control and the sponsorship for this event. We will be waiving the adoption fees for anyone who wants to adopt one of our furry friends.
All right, that's pretty good. Free
this is in honor of our
pets.
National Pet Adoption Week. Thank you. That concludes my comments.
Thank you. Supervisor Cook.
Oh,
thank
he's
you.
here? He's here?
Thank
Okay,
you
hold
for
on. We got to go
remembering my
normal
name.
speed.
And
Did he say thank you,
you
for
know, this
remembering my
occasion,
name?
I don't
Hold
know,
on, hold on.
getting-
Let's run that back. Whoops.
Come together as a public and just kind of learn from each other. This is
remembering my name.
Thank you. That concludes my comments.
Thank
All right.
Supervisor Cook.
Well, thank you. Thank you for remembering my name. And
He really said thank you for remembering my name. Oh, man. Okay.
you know, this occasion, I don't know. I'm getting older and older and older. But one thing about the county is
Okay.
We remember our family, and I use that collectively. I was in the military a long while, and the hardest job in the world was not going to combat or anything else. It was knocking on that door.
The hardest job was not
And
going to combat.
you
Okay.
had to be the
Knocking on what door?
bearer of
Oh, I see.
I think since I've been here the short time, this has been something that I want to commend the staff and everyone else. We never forget the troops and the family here. And
Amen to that.
when we do this, it might sound kind of hokey or what have you. But this is probably, I'm not as smart as everybody else, so they make policy and everything else. But in terms of what I
Homie said,
do,
I'm not as
this is
smart as everyone else. They make the
best
policy.
thing that I do is see the reaction of the citizens, and just the fact we put that much time and effort in it. If it ever stops, I'm not saying I'm going to react, but I will kick the ass of the manager. No, I'm not supposed to say that, but very, very special occasion.
What?
And I think they do a great job.
What?
Thank you very much. Supervisor Hagman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple notes this morning. First of all, I'm amazed with the 4 retirees this morning. Collectively, 128 years serving the county of San Bernardino. So that was just amazing to see. And I don't know what you're doing wrong, Luther, to chase all these well-qualified people away. But, what a great what a great they did.
Whoa,
earn it,
whoa, whoa, whoa,
but
whoa.
what a
Hold on,
great,
hold on.
group
Did,
of
did
folks this
I
morning.
did I hear Mr. Kirk Hagman right? He's complaining that people are retiring? I mean, not complaining per se, but saying that uh Mr. CEO is driving people to retirement? It seems like too much of a not funny to be a joke.
Serve in the county of San Bernardino. So that was just amazing to see. And I don't know what you're doing wrong, Luther, to chase all these well-qualified people away. But, what a great, they did earn it. But what a great.
Yes,
group of
they
folks this
did
morning.
earn it. They
Just
very
wanna
much
highlight a
did
couple
earn
agenda
it.
Items. Item number 24 will improve a $1.5 million increase at Chino Hills Pinehurst Park to build a new community center and splash pad. And item 32
Splash
will
pad.
support adult literacy with the James S. Thalman Chino Hills Library. In IHP world, IHP and the San Bernardino Community College District are partnering to connect local college students to healthcare in this first-of-a-kind pilot program that will serve as a model for other counties across the state. So
Really?
Congratulations to them. I do want to announce a couple of updates on local district things. Tonight's Upland State of the City and SBC, San Bernardino County Purchasing World of Opportunities Reverse Vendor Show. It is going to be at the Ontario Convention Center tomorrow on the 26th. On this Saturday, we're hosting with the City of Chino Hills a document shredding event for our county residents, although the signups are all full. So I guess we can't adopt any more at this point. And we have a Chino Ranchero Park grand opening on 3/29. So lots of district events. The spring is here and everything's going well. Thank you for the time, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. I would like to highlight item number 40 on our consent calendar today. Oh, I skipped right over you, didn't I?
Yeah. Okay.
I did?
No.
I just am having trouble with my memory.
Oh no.
Item 40
Oh
on our
no.
consent calendar today is a contract that will allow our Department of Public Health to expand clinical outreach efforts in providing a mobile healthcare service to Needles and Havasu Landing area. These services are they include healthcare screenings and physicals and various tests for conditions such as diabetes and high blood pressure, as well as basic urgent care services. So I would like to thank Dr. Wang and Josh and the entire Public Health Department for servicing our rural communities. And I would also like to highlight that Supervisor Cook and I had the opportunity to attend a lovely and memorable event in the LA area for David Weiner, who is a Holocaust survivor. And it was the Holocaust Museum honoring him.
What?
And it was a lovely tribute to all that he has done in society and health.
Hold on. We need to look into Mr. David Weiner. And if he's part of the Holocaust Museum? Interesting. I just don't understand why they had an opportunity to do this. Okay, hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's Mr. David Weiner. Let's type in Holocaust survivor. Museum, that's New York. Okay. Hold on.
On our consent calendar today.
Item
I
40.
skipped right over you, didn't I?
Oh, wait,
Did I
hold
get
on.
you? Right.
Okay, yeah.
That will
Trouble
allow
with their memory,
healthcare
blah, blah,
service
blah.
to include
Healthcare
health pressure.
service.
Josh, and I would also like to highlight that Supervisor Cook and I had the opportunity to attend a lovely and memorable event in the LA area for David Weiner, who is a Holocaust survivor.
For David Weiner. Okay. All right, I guess let's just go to Museum of Jewish Heritage to see what they have to say on Mr. David Weiner. And so I'm assuming he's born in Poland. Okay, so he's a Holocaust survivor, and they probably had an event. Interesting. I wonder why they had an event and why our Board of Supervisors were invited to it. But I mean, I guess that's cool. It's an education opportunity. Opportunity for for them to talk to other people, I would imagine, who are in government. All right, whatever. Let's see what she's bringing this up for.
And it was the Holocaust Museum honoring him. And it was a lovely tribute to all that he has done in society. And how many Holocaust survivors were there that night?
I don't know.
I think there were 20 some odd Holocaust survivors in attendance. And so it was a very moving evening for someone that has done a lot for our community.
Oh,
and with that,
this
I
is
will
news.
turn it over to Lena
David
for
Weiner
additions
did
and
stuff
revisions to
for our
today's
community.
agenda.
Okay, we'll have to look
Thank
into
you, Madam
that.
Chair. I have two changes for today's agenda. Item number 22 is being taken off calendar, and item number 49 is being taken off calendar. That's all I have.
But why?
Thank you. If any board member has a conflict of interest to disclose
Oh, I love the conflict.
on any item on our agenda,
Nobody's
please
going
do
to
so
have a
now.
conflict of
Thank you, Madam
interest.
Chair. I'm going to abstain from item 47 because it's near my residence.
Oh.
Any others?
Oh.
All right, seeing none, we will now move on to our consent calendar, which today consists of items number 2 through 74. I would like to pull for discussion items number 12 and 13. Do we have any
It would be
other
really
members
nice,
wishing to pull an item for discussion?
whoever puts up the videos on this YouTube, it would be really nice if you put the link in the description of the board agenda items. Yeah, that would be great. Okay, let's keep listening
Or
while
provide
I look up.
brief remarks? All right, we'll move on to public comment for consent. And Margaret Cashin. Margaret, are you with us today? Good morning, Margaret.
Speaking on item 43, approve amendment number 1 to employment contract with Dr. Naomi Chow, Director of Doctor of Veterinary Medicine as a contract public health veterinarian. That's number 1, number 2, and number 3. I'm not an expert on this, but I just wanted to comment. It seems like most shelters don't have a vet on staff. So, for
Really?
example, City of San Bernardino Animal Shelter has probably on average at least 150 to 200 animals. DeVore, probably at least 100 to 150 or more. Apple Valley Animal Shelter, probably close to 300 with no vets on staff. So you have registered vet technicians, which are
Please
lowering
don't break
medicine.
screen. Please don't break.
I thought last year there was.
Hopefully that
vet
was just a
that
minor
was
hiccup in the stream.
hired. It seems like they are specifically for mobile clinics. So just want to put out there that not having a vet on staff, or at least for the county, is like running a hospital without a doctor. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the only request to speak that I have on our consent calendar, so I will entertain a motion.
And then they're not even going to address it.
Thank you for the motion, Supervisor Baca, and a second, Supervisor Hagman. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
47, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, the consent calendar is approved with item numbers 12 and 13 being deferred, and Supervisor Hagman abstaining on item number 47.
Thank you very much. And with that, we will take our
Hold on. I got item number 47 right now. Amendments to agreements with Speedway Development. Okay. Amendments to agreements with Speedway SBC Development LLC and Union Pacific Railroad Company for preliminary engineering services for the Auto Club Speedway project. That's interesting. Can I click on this for more info? No. Let's see. Oh, I see. So project location. So he said that this is close to his own personal residence? Does he live in the Speedway? I don't see any houses around here. Unless, weird. Okay, hold on. That's just one document. Let's see what the other documents look like. Supplemental agreement. Okay, so wait. Let's go back to this. 47 amendments to the agreement with the Speedway SBC Development LLC and Union Pacific Company. Okay, so we got to find out what the amendments were. Although I do have to say this is kind of boring. Okay, so supplemental agreement as made of blank Union Pacific. Okay, County of San Bernardino. Where's that LLC? Okay, looks like Don Rowell and Kenneth Tom from Union Pacific Railroad. Okay, so like what are they trying to do? Like why don't they explain it to us? You know, other than just saying that it's too close to your house. Total contract amount 50,000. I'm really gonna look through all these documents, but you know what? I guess this is what I signed up for. This is my new job. All right, total contract amendment number 1. Okay. But what date is this from? San Bernardino County and Speedway SBC Development are each referred to as party and collective party, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now therefore consideration mutual covenants conditions provide herein parties now agree to amendments that follow. Delete all references to the agreement in Exhibit A and replace with Exhibit A1 attached to this amendment and incorporated into county contract, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so sounds like the amendment was replacing Exhibit A with Exhibit A1. Now let's see if we could find these exhibits. Or did it say it was attached to? Okay, Exhibit A1. So this is a picture? Okay, so we're just approving more money for it. That's it. Why couldn't they say that? Okay. Well, let's look into it a little bit more, but I wanted to say that it increased from 50,000 to 62,000. I literally cannot find Exhibit A. R1. Delete all references of the agreement to Exhibit A and replace with Exhibit 1A attached to this amendment and incorporated county contract number 22-749 by this reference. The second one, the recitals of this amendment number 1 are incorporated into the agreement with this reference. Except as amendment number 1, all other terms and conditions of county contract number 22-749 will remain the same. This amendment number 1 may be signed by counterparts, and the original should PDF, email, okay. Signature on the following page. So Don Rao signed it, but she didn't. Signed and certified that a copy of this document has been delivered to chairman of the board. So that's Dawn Rao, because she is the chair of the board. Lena Monell is the clerk of the board. That one lady with the long hair, I think. Exhibit. Maybe I'm just like not getting it. So let's see. There's four attachments. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. We're going to call it. For whatever reason, they had to increase the money. And that's weird how Kirk Hagman said he couldn't comment on it because it's too close to his house. Does that mean he does not want this? That just doesn't make sense. He's probably maybe just being extra careful about it. Let's see. Okay. Yep. We're just saying that it went from $50,000 to $62,000. So they agreed to have more money, I guess. Beats me. Okay.
Deferred items, item number 12 and 13 are both under the ATC. If we have someone here to present on item number 12 to start. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair. We have a couple representatives here from the assessor's office. This is as much an assessor item as it is a tax collector item. Could I maybe have somebody come up and assist me from the assessor's office? Teresa?
Who? All right. I believe this is on item number 12. We're just waiting for this lady.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Teresa Valdez, Assessment Services Manager for the assessor.
All right.
Did you want to present the item, Ensign, or would you like me to read it?
I can answer questions, or I can give you the synopsis of what happened.
So this is a petition to rescind a tax deed of assessor parcel number with a specific parcel number. And I have, if you can give us a summary of what happened, and then I have some questions.
Okay. So this is a timeshare, and the way timeshares work is that they start off life as something else, in this case, a condo. As the timeshare weeks are sold off, they're given their own assessor parcel number and their own ownership. At the remainder, there's usually not 52 weeks, and that's sold. In this case, there was 50.5 weeks with a week and a half remaining. That becomes common area, not subject to tax. They often do this to have some time open for maintenance. So in this case, the remaining parcel never got recategorized as common property. It was still categorized as a condo. So the taxes were not paid. It went to tax sale as a condo, and after it sold, it was discovered that it was not a condo, it was a timeshare, and that we can't sell property that many people own without notifying those many people.
Oh my God, how did that happen?
The buyer is asking for the sale to be rescinded.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so it sounds like the county got their hands on a property that wasn't theirs and attempted to sell it. And then people who own the timeshare found out that their property that they, share is being sold by someone who doesn't actually own it. Wild.
So my questions is, it's got to be awful to have your property sold from you. And what mechanisms do we have in place to ensure that this doesn't happen again?
Well, it really wasn't anybody's property in particular. It was common property to the timeshare to the resort. And nobody's claimed excess proceeds, so nobody has mentioned anything or claimed the excess proceeds. The data for that comes to us from the assessor's office, and that's why I asked Teresa, right? Yes. To come up and maybe explain what happened on the data side.
Thank you.
Oh, no.
Good morning, Madam Chair. So the internal audit that we conducted in researching this rescission request found that the original developer back in 1996 had reached out to our
1996?
office and told us of their intent to sell off the timeshares, not all at once, and that they knew that they would continue to be responsible for the taxes for the unsold portion of the timeshares. And so those intervals, as they were sold, they did not get recorded in our system accurately, so that when we got to the point of no weeks of it were still unsold, that we switched it to a tax status 4 for common area. So we have found that in our internal audit, and we do intend to make it a tax status 4. As far as making sure that it doesn't occur again in the future, we do have every intention of looking at all our resorts and making sure that we don't have any outstanding parcels that should be common area and non-taxable.
Is it possible that this has happened to other properties that haven't been caught in the audit yet?
We do not believe so. There may be some in this resort because it's unique to the situation that it's in Big Bear. The resort is, some of the condos
so
are
it's
used for timeshare purposes, and
I
some
see.
of them are used as condos. So there is a little bit of complexity to that resort.
So it takes human oversight to ensure that it doesn't happen again. It's not anything that we can put into our systems to catch it automatically?
That is correct. So we are being proactive in doing an audit on the remainder units and making sure that we don't have anything else out there that's still outstanding.
Thank you. And is there a
Man,
way
but
that
how
your
long was
department
it
can
outstanding
verify
for?
with the assessor before these go, so that we don't have to rescind this?
There are lots of parcels, probably thousands, that go up for any particular tax sale. We only have a few people in that division, so we tend to rely on the data we receive. We could add more FT.
I want to know how many a few people in that division means. Is that like 5? Is that like 10? Is it 20? Is it 2? Like, how many is a few people that if there's multiple sales happening of this, how many people are actually in charge of making sure this doesn't happen again? Let's see if Chair Rao says my thoughts, but I don't know.
And do more checking, but this is such a rare thing. I don't think it would be a good use of resources.
All right.
Okay.
Any other questions? No. All right. Thank you. Do we have any public comment on this item? All right. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move the items.
Thank you, Supervisor Hagman, and a second with Vice Chair Baca. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, item number 12 is approved.
All right. Thank you very much. And
Okay, so it was item number 12. Am I looking at the wrong thing? 8. Oh, yeah, I am looking at the wrong thing. That's for 325. Last month. All right. Looks like some documents from 2024. From this LLC to the Honorable Don Rowe, 3rd District Supervisor and fellow Board of Supervisors. 1 petitioner, ADAD LLC, at times here and mentioned, blah, 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 between June 1st and 7th. Petitioner participated in auction of tax default real properties. Oh, yeah. I don't know how timeshares work, but I just would it's wild that they didn't know that their property was being sold. Okay, let's continue
On
on.
to item number 13. This is the schedule of services with Bloomberg LP.
Can I have Parth come on down? This is our Chief Deputy Treasurer.
Good morning. So if you can explain to us what
Sure.
happened.
Yeah, so Bloomberg is a service that we use to manage the $15.5 billion county portfolio. We've been using it for 27 years, and it allows us to basically transact securities, do economic and financial analysis. It allows us to view the whole portfolio, do stress testing, and basically it is not something that we could do without Bloomberg. Last year, when the contract came due, it went through several reviews, and there was a clerical error on
Oh
the
no,
original,
clerical
BAI,
error.
which capped the total amount to what the one-year amount was. And so the first piece of the item is basically to clarify that and basically remove that cap so we can continue using the service and manage the portfolio. And the second item was to allow for biannual price increases, which is built into the contract since 1999. That is how Bloomberg does it. And every January, they look at the inflation rate from the past 2 years, and then they adjust the amount up. At the county right now, we have 6 terminals in use, which are used for trading and financial analysis, like I said earlier. So it's a very important piece of service.
And again, back to the same sort of spirit of the question, anything that we can do to catch the clerical errors so that they don't happen, so that the board doesn't have to take the action?
I think this one will resolve the issue with this particular item and shouldn't be an issue with this one. But it was just basically, there are so many reviews that happen in departments that don't really use the service, and then everyone wants to add verbiage in it. So potentially streamlining that could help definitely with making this straightforward.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
That's not an
Any board member questions or
answer.
comments?
I'll move the item.
Thank you. Do I have any members of the public wishing to speak on this?
No, Madam Chair.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, item number 13 is approved.
Thank you,
Thank you,
gentlemen.
Madam Chair.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we will move on to our discussion calendar, which today is items 75 through 83. And our first up is the proposed 25 to 30 consolidated plan and the 2025-26 annual action plan, market analysis, needs assessment, analysis of impediments for fair housing choice, and citizen participation plan being presented this morning by Carrie Harmon. And I will open the public hearing.
Good morning, Chair Rao, members of the board, Mr. Snoke, Mr. Bunton. Carrie Harmon, Director of Community Development and Housing. I'm here to present for the public hearing. And this is for the 2025 to 2030 consolidated plan and also the 2025 to 2026 annual action plan. And to put that in more easy to understand language, it's our strategic plan for some significant HUD grants we receive. Next slide, please. So the consolidated plan, the larger purpose is it's a strategic planning document that sets the goals for us to promote livable communities in our unincorporated areas and our 13 partnering cities. It also provides funding direction for guiding the allocations of community development block grant, home investment partnership, and emergency solutions grant funds every year through the annual action plan. It also includes related documents that really provide the data and the context
I'm
for
sorry, I
the
gotta
goals and
speed her up.
objectives we are setting, and that's the needs assessment, market analysis, fair housing impediments, and citizen participation plan, which outlines how we engage with our community and residents to get their impact on these documents. Next slide, please. So the annual action plan is just a one-year plan. For this year, it's guiding about $9.5 million of grant funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. That includes the community development block
Dang.
grant funds.
Are we sure that we're still
It also
getting these
includes our home
grants?
funds, about $2.4 million.
Are we sure, County of San Bernardino, that we are still getting grants from federal? Are we still getting federal money? Like, are we sure, especially with HUD? We don't even know who runs HUD yet, I don't think.
I think what's most important to share with the board and also our community today is the projects that the county is proposing to undertake for the next year. So in districts 1, 2,
You know, wild.
And 5, we are continuing our work to ensure that we have the road infrastructure and sidewalk infrastructure to promote active transit, access for people with disabilities, and to promote walking in those neighborhoods. So we have some curb cuts and ramp improvements in those areas. Also in District 5, we are working on some storm drain improvements to improve water management in those communities. In District 3, we are purchasing a fire truck to ensure that we can adequately address fires in those more remote communities. That both protects property and habitat, but it also ensures that on medical calls, we can get there quickly and provide those support to those residents. In District 4, we're continuing our work to improve park infrastructure and ensure that we have access for persons with disabilities, but our parks are aging well over time. Also new this year, we are doing 2 pilot projects. One, they're both county-wide, is to provide workforce services for shelter residents, because while we know housing is important, the best way out of homelessness is to increase your income. So really targeting our workforce development services there. Also, we know that dental services are #1 priority in any survey we do with our community, the need for affordable dental. So we're going to support Public Health's mobile dental program, especially in remote areas. And then lastly, we had some leftover administrative funding from our community development block grant coronavirus funds. Rather than use them for our own purposes, we're going to deploy those in the community for senior food programs in the cities of Montclair, Upland, and Ontario. So next slide, please.
That's not a bad idea.
And then just in conclusion, all of our work today is also in compliance with our citizens participation plan, which ensures that we're adequately notifying the public of this hearing. So we post ads in papers, we post on our website, it's available in our offices. At the end of this hearing, we'll conclude our 30-day public comment period. And with that, I open it up to questions and comments.
Thank you. Any board member questions or comments?
Just a quick one. Gary, what do you see any changing of our methods over the last couple of year cycles? Are we continuing on the course, or we're seeing differences out there?
I do think we're on course. I think we have invested well in improving infrastructure, particularly in our unincorporated communities. And I think we've also looked at partnering with our 13 cities to support like childcare programs, food programs, after school, like homework. And so I think we're on course, and I see us staying this kind of path we've set.
I encourage our future evolutions of this as we're starting to grow our COG at SBCTA as a function to get that bigger
Heck
picture.
is
So
SBCTA?
when the county comes in, we could plug in maybe some of the holes and gaps on the cities and really connect with the unincorporated areas with the
Okay, San Bernardino County Transportation Authority. Don't tell me he sits on that board too.
Bigger picture, and I think you're the perfect person to help take that goal and lead with on a regional level, so we can just plan and see how that works out.
Sounds great. It's always great to leverage money.
Thank you.
I do not believe we have any requests to speak on this item. I thank you very much for opening our remote conferencing sites in Hesperia and Joshua Tree, for giving the entire county an opportunity to comment on this. And with that, I will close the public
And
hearing.
nobody commented on it.
Thank you for the motion, Supervisor Hagman, and the second, Vice Chair Baca. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, item number 75 is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item number 76 is the introduction of our fiscal year 2025-26 proposed annual county fee ordinance. We're going to have one presentation for all the fee hearing items, and then we will
All
take
right,
public comment and
excellent.
vote on each item
Let's look at
separately.
all the
Good morning,
fees.
Matthew. I will open the public
Oh
hearing.
man,
and
Ensign.
let you get
No, I
started
mean
with the
not
presentation.
Ensign.
All
Matthew.
right. Good morning, Chair Rao, members of the board. Matthew Erickson,
There
Chief
we go,
Financial
Matthew
Officer.
Erickson,
Today we are going to have a
CFO.
lot of financial information for you today. Not only are we going to be going over these fee hearings, but we'll have a nice financial update for you. But we wanted to start with the 25-26 recommended fee hearings, as you mentioned. Next slide. First, let me step back for a second and again thank all of the department heads that have worked so hard as part of this fee process to get our fees ready for you. As you know, we met a couple weeks ago. Staff worked really hard to prepare some workbooks for you to take a look at, see different fee changes. We went over those 2 weeks ago with you, and today is the fee hearings. As mentioned, it's fee hearings because we have several entities that will be looking for approval to proceed to the adoption of the fees 2 weeks from now. So these are the different entities, the county along with several of our special districts, along with ISMA as well. Next slide. I already mentioned it, but a basic overview of the fee process. On March 11th, we had our fee workshop. We took input from the board 2 weeks ago. We did have one takeaway that I'm going to go over with you in a second, but we are having the fee hearing today on March 25th. 2 weeks from now, we're looking for the adoptions. Next slide. We wanted to do a really quick recap for you of the recommended fee changes, just a big overview. As mentioned 2 weeks ago, fees do not represent a huge revenue source for us as a county. It really is about $250 million, estimated at about 3% of our overall county budget.
That's wild.
But
It only
does,
brings
you
in
know, provide
30%.
funding for a lot of the different services that we provide for the public, which is a lot of our departments are reliant on it, so it's something that is important to us. We are seeing a net increase of 48 fees. That's a net an addition of 95 fees with the deletion of 47. Next slide. So our biggest takeaway from the fee workshop a couple weeks ago, Colonel Cook asked if we could look at possibly waiving some fees for veterans. And so we did do that. We worked with our county museum, regional parks, as well as our Big Bear Recreational Park District to look at potential fees we could waive. What we're looking to do is waive admissions fees on Memorial Day, Independence Day, and Veterans Day for
That's pretty
veterans
good.
or active service members. And so
3
that's something
big
that we're looking
days
to do.
that veterans can
along
get
with
in for
regional
free.
parks, we're looking to it for entrance fees for vehicles on those days as well. So that was one of the biggest takeaways that we took from the fee workshop. We're happy to have
The
presented
question,
that to you,
aren't
and I
those
think
like
that's it. Next
actual
slide.
holidays?
If we
And
have
I know
any
that the museum is
questions,
closed
please
on
feel free to let us
federal
know.
holidays.
I do have department heads here to help answer specific
So
questions.
I don't know how that's going to work, but okay.
Yeah, after the workshop last meeting, I had actually brought up also if we would consider or
All right,
have
we're
we
gonna-
considered building like a, like Disneyland has a SoCal Pass for our, not just our county residents, but finding benefits we can give to our county employees so that they can
Oh, yeah.
utilize these resources and help. And I don't know if a study needs to be done, but I feel like if
A
we could
study.
have our local people utilize these, and even if it means some fees go up for people who are from out of state or from out of the county, I think that could be a play that we can get our local residents to see all the wonderful things we have in the county. Me personally, I still haven't been to every single park.
Yeah.
So I feel like that that could be a great opportunity and a marketing tool. And I think I asked about that last week, but I didn't hear anything about it today.
Gotcha. Sorry. So yeah, we certainly could look into that. I'm not sure that we've actually seen the impacts of what that may or may not be, but we certainly can look into that on a go-forward basis. For today, we are looking for approval. This is something that we could potentially even bring back. I don't know if at the discretion of the CEO, maybe even a little bit later, but
Yeah, something we definitely can look at and see, are there ways to incentivize our local residents to come use our parks, use our amenities, and give them a little bit of a break or an opportunity to pay a little less. And yeah, we can and should look at that. And so I don't think we are not bound to have to do this on an annual basis to bring fees forward. We do that because of the complexity of this. So it's something we could look at starting today and bring back a recommendation in the near future.
Okay.
Also,
So
some
question. Going to let's try to answer Mr. Armendariz' question. The idea of like a Disney SoCal Pass or whatever, I'm not entirely sure what that is. Because I'm not a Disney adult, I'm sorry. I want to say the idea is you buy an annual pass to visit all of these locations, no matter where or what they are, you have access to it, which I think is a great idea. But how many people use these services altogether? How many times can a family go to the San Bernardino County Museum? I know that they have a membership pass through their association where it's, I don't know, anywhere from $60 to like $200 annually. And you get to go to the museum as many times as you want throughout the year. $60 for that. And that's if you're a diehard museum person. If you're not a diehard museum person, maybe you're a diehard parks person, right? And you go fishing a lot. I don't know if they have a pass too, but how many people are using museum? How many people are going to the museum and to the parks and to the libraries, which I'm pretty sure are free? How many people are doing all that stuff? And how many people from out of county are coming and using these services would be one of my biggest questions. If it's only if all of these fees and services are only 3% of the county's revenue, why are we trying to increase that revenue? Are we trying to get it above 3%? Does it matter? Like, these are some questions that I would offer Mr. Armendariz as a guiding point for questions of that. Yes, the Disney Pass is a great idea, but how many people actually regularly use these services that San Bernardino County provides? I think they're not as interlinked as we would hope. And I think that Mr. Armendariz has a unique perspective where he's from, and he's brand new. He's just seeing all these great things that the county has to offer, and he wonders why people aren't using them, right? But I don't think it's a lack of awareness. It's just a lack of desire. I don't know. You guys, drop a comment below if you have an opinion on that, because if it's only 3% of the revenue, and I don't even know how much those actual admission fees, what percentage of that 3% is actually admission fees. My suspect is it's suspect. My feeling is that it's very small, and is even less than that. How does the county primarily make its money would be my question, and how can we maximize that revenue? Yes, I think we should look into, diversifying, but work with what we have. Why should we raise the prices on museum admission when the goal is to have as many people come as possible? Why should we, charge a different rate depending on where you come from? San Bernardino County is so big. It encompasses so much land. It's not just Orange County or Riverside County or LA County. Those are the 3 surrounding counties. I hate to say it. You're not traveling from Northern California to come see all the great amenities in San Bernardino County. You're traveling from Northern California to see all the great amenities in Los Angeles and San Diego. So that's my little opinion right there. But again, if you have an opinion on it, please share. Let's continue.
Incentive or benefit for our county employees also.
The county employees, I think,
We'll
is a
take
great
that
idea.
As a takeaway here.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Supervisor Cook.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
rare earth mining.
Huh?
I don't know whether that comes up now. and
Rare
then.
earth
Obviously,
mining.
It's
What is
an
he
area
talking
that,
about?
has national security implications.
What?
I thought you have to have special permits. But I know or I was led to believe that the Chinese
What?
do a lot of the rare earth mining.
Where?
Some of these materials that have national security implications.
What materials have national
Do you get
security
involved in that
implications?
at all? Or, because every time I start digging on this, it's like, if I tell you this, I have to kill you. Sounds like
What?
my wife, but
What?
if somebody is, I don't trust the government in China when it comes to some of these things, competition on what have you. I don't know
Homie,
if
didn't we
this
just
has
have a
ever
partnership
been
with
brought up
China?
before. We have a huge area, as I said, in my district. I think you have some too.
Do mining permits, would they be under the fee schedule?
They may. I'm not familiar with that.
What?
Yeah.
Why are they? Oh my goodness, mining permits under the fee schedule? I don't think so. What? Wild. Why is Mr. Paul Cook all of a sudden interested in mining? Does he want to move mining to San Bernardino County? Does he want to start mining rare earth minerals in San Bernardino County? Like, is this really the best place to get rare earth minerals? I'm so confused.
Land use related.
So land use services, the planning department has jurisdiction over our mines in the county. I believe there's over 100 mines.
There's 100 mines in
One
San Bernardino
important
County?
rare earth mine, I believe, that's out there.
One rare earth
yes,
mine.
there is fees that we charge to permit those, and
So the federal government has to pay a fee, right?
we actually charge the operator of the mine for going out and
Oh my
ensuring that they're
God.
aligned with their permit requirements as we're required to enforce either on the state SMARA requirements or at the federal level.
Yeah, the reason I brought it up, I'm scratching my head about national security, and there have been some instances. I know that I'm not going to say the government of China has operated on with different rules, but
What?
if this is in my area or what have you, I never see much literature. It's you go in trying to find it, and it's like
Find
doesn't
what?
exist or something.
Find what?
Is this something we need a special closed circuit brief, or it's like the government's handling? Don't worry about it.
What?
I'm more worried about the Chinese, who arguably are, I'm not going to say our enemy or anything, but somebody that's digging around in an area with national security assets, if you will.
What national security assets?
No, who would give us a brief on this?
Supervisor Cook, if you're willing, I would work with the CEO to see if this is something and the county council that we can discuss at a different time.
What? She doesn't want him to talk
Possible
about it
too, maybe we
anymore.
set up a meeting with the mine, particularly out there, who does rare earth
Which
mining.
mine is
Perhaps they
it?
can enlighten us in some of the challenges and risks they're facing that would help us better look for ways we could enforce or assist.
I'll be
in
happy to
enforcement.
go with her as long as she's carrying a weapon.
What? He said.
Any questions
Oh
about the
my
fee hearing?
goodness. Okay, hold on. Okay, so first off, we need to figure out what mine this is. What rare earth mine is operating in San Bernardino County that is holding that has something in it that might be a national security risk. That is what I'm getting from Mr. Paul Cook. And to throw that in there, he's afraid that China is going to have it. I just don't understand where this came from. How did he, and he said he can't find any literature on it. I'm so confused. Let's try to figure this out. That is wild. Okay. Man, you know what? Insane. Crazy. Maybe it's his Mountain Pass rare earth mine. I don't know. Okay. Hold on. Let's just let this keep running.
No? All right. I do not believe we have any requests to speak on this, so I will close the public hearing.
That's it? That's all we're
Thank you for
hearing on
motion.
the fee
Supervisor
hearing?
Hagman in the second, Vice Chair Baca. All those in
Man.
favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, item number 76 is approved.
Very good. Item 77 is the introduction of the proposed fiscal year 2025-26 fee
frickin'
ordinance
LA
for Big
Times.
Bear Valley Recreation and Park District. I will open the public hearing. I do not believe I have any requests to speak on this.
We do not.
Any board member comments or questions? We'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Second.
Thank you, Vice Chair Baca for the motion and Hagman for the second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item number 77 is approved.
Thank you. Item 78 is the introduction of proposed fiscal year 2025-26 fee ordinance for Bloomington Recreation and Park
Wait,
District.
so like I'm confused. Is Mr. CFO not giving his presentation anymore? Like we only heard a couple of slides and then he launched into the rare earth thing.
Memorial Day and next slide.
Consider or have we considered?
Okay, so after that
we can and should look at that. And so I don't think we are not bound to have to do this on an annual basis to bring fees forward. We do that because of the complexity of this. So it's something we could look at starting today.
I don't know if I'm
Me personally, I still haven't been to every single park.
Yeah.
So I feel like that day.
Gotcha. Sorry. So yeah, we certainly could look into that. I'm not sure that we've actually seen the impacts of what that may or may not be, but we certainly can look into that on a go-forward basis. For today, we are looking for approval. This is something that we could potentially even bring back. I don't know if at the discretion of the CEO, maybe even a little bit later, but
yeah, something we definitely can look at and see, are there ways to incentivize our local residents to come use our parks, use our amenities, and give them a little bit of a break or an opportunity to pay a little less. And we can and should look at that. And so I don't think we are not bound to have to do this on an annual basis to bring fees forward. We do that because of the complexity of this. So it's something we could look at starting today and bring back a recommendation in the near future if that's
also some sort of incentive or benefit for our county employees also.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We'll take that as a takeaway here.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Supervisor Cook.
Okay, so literally that's what it was. She was like, any more questions or comments? And then he launched into the rare earth mineral thing. Okay, so I kind of found this article from Politico. It seems like China let's just launch right into it. I'm sorry. It's just, this is news to me, and I see the wheels turning in Paul Cook's head, but it's just like big old hole. Okay. China dominates the rare earths market. This U.S. mine is trying to change that. Mountain Pass sites at the center of America's plan to rival China's iron grip on critical rare earth elements used in advanced commercial and military technology. All right. This is by Lara Seligman, from December of 2022. All right. On a dusty road at the northern edge of the Mojave Desert, a pair of 100-ton haul trucks, their wheels twice the height of a fully grown man, emerge from a deep chasm. Their cargo bed is loaded with ore. The 400-foot pit, nestled in the foothills of California's Clark Mountain Range, is home to the only rare earths mine in the United States. Interesting. Okay, so I could see how Mr. Paul Cook could be a little bit concerned about this. If this is truly our only rare earth mine, which I guess we got to figure out what rare earth minerals are. I swear if it's just like lithium or something, then that's going to be bogus. But okay. The Mountain Pass mine, which resumed operations in 2012 after years of dormancy, today supply around 15% of the world's production of rare earths. Wow, that's a lot. Because I know that Latin America provides that as well. So interesting. China could just go to Latin America and get their rare earths like they're not trying to get it from here. Okay. A group of 17 minerals used to make magnets in America's most advanced commercial and military technology, from electric vehicles to Virginia-class attack submarines. Okay. My instinct is saying that it's definitely lithium. That 15% figure is significant, especially given that just 11 years ago the mine was producing nothing. But still a small fraction of the global market that has for decades been dominated by China. Okay, yes, I think China is mining in their own country. And then, like I said, I don't know if in Europe or Africa has, whatever that deal was, that attempted deal that Trump tried to do with Ukraine over the rare earths minerals was kind of interesting too. So that's just why it just sounds so interesting that Paul Cook is all of a sudden obsessed with this now. And he apparently can't find any literature on it. All right. And this haul won't stay in the U.S. for long. The concentrate produced at Mountain Pass is sold to refiners in China. Ultimately, the refined materials are converted into powerful alloys and magnets for users around the world. All right, so it looks like American companies are selling this product to China. Does Mr. Paul Cook want to tax these American companies? That's kind of interesting. I don't know. Maybe he wants to add more fees to them. This rust-colored crater dug deep into volcanic rock is at the center of a new U.S. plan to rival China's iron grip on rare earth elements. Now, more than ever, U.S. government officials are worried that the gap in the United States rare earth industry base leaves the country, and particularly the Pentagon increasing vulnerable and any disruptions in the supply chain. And the administration and MP Materials, the company that owns the Mountain Pass mine, are making quick moves to try to close that gap. Okay, so if they're trying to, keep U.S. Dominant in the production and production of these minerals, then yes, I could see how that'd be an issue. All right, the Department of Defense last month named China its top strategic threat, and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan this summer escalated tensions in the region to new highs. The increasing number of close calls between Chinese and American pilots over the Pacific this year, keep in mind it's 2022, has raised concerns in the top ranks of the Pentagon that a misunderstanding or provocative attack could spark an all-out conflict. We've seen an alarming increase in the number of unsafe aerial intercepts and confrontations at sea by PLA aircrafts and vessels. Okay. Yeah, warmongering. Pentagons. Talking about war. Beijing once blocked Japan's access to rare earth elements during a 2010 dispute over Tokyo's detention of a Chinese fishing trawler captain. Then in 2019, China threatened to include certain products using rare earths in Beijing's technology export restrictions, a response to the Trump administration's pressure on telecom giant Huawei. Oh, I remember that. Remember when Trump was trying to get Huawei kicked out of America? I mean, it's like what he did with TikTok, or what happened with TikTok but didn't happen with TikTok. I don't know. I don't know if Huawei's are still allowed in America, but I don't think they are. China could easily decide to restrict access to rare earths again with disastrous consequences. As of today, China accounts for 63% of the world's rare earth mining, 85% of rare earth processing, and 92% of rare earth magnet production. Rare earth alloys and magnets that China control are critical components in missiles, firearms, radar, and stealth aircraft. Okay. All right. So now I could see where Mr. Paul Cook is getting his fears of national security, because if China has holds has majority of production of these things, and we don't, then that just leaves us at the hands of China, and we'll have to, our our military industrial complex will have to go to them to get these things built. Also, how much of the military industrial complex is actually built in America? I want to know. Okay. The risk of relying on Beijing for these components was brought into stark relief in September when the Pentagon suspended deliveries of the F-35 for about a month after discovering that a magnet in the jet's turbo machine was made with cobalt and samarium alloy that came from China. The alloy, which is sourced only in China, does not transmit sensitive information or put the fighter at risk, Locke said. But the presence of Chinese-made materials may have violated a new defense federal acquisition regulation requiring contractors to disclose any work in China on certain military contracts. Okay. Department of Defense rule is designed to incentivize the defense industry to rely only on American contractors. Okay, that makes sense. I agree with that. In the end, the Department of Defense granted manufacturer Lockheed Martin a waiver allowing it to resume deliveries for national security reasons. To date, all of the F-35s that have been delivered to the U.S. military, roughly 600 planes, contain the Chinese alloy, starting in the spring, the jets coming off the production line will contain a new alloy that complies with Department of Defense regulations. There are choke points that we can't control, Najib Locke said. If we don't prioritize onshoring this, then we are going to have weak points that don't enable us to really defend ourselves. Yes. Okay. So whatever Mr. Paul Cook heard, it sounds like he heard that, China is the main producer in these rare earth minerals and magnets that are needed to be used in the different computers and different technology that is in our military. All right. MP Materials wants to be the solution for America's rare earth challenge. MP Materials, that might be the company. Let's look that up. Oh, are they publicly traded? Let's see. Our mission is to restore the full rare earth supply chain in the United States of America. MP Materials owns and operates in Mountain Pass, the only integrated rare earth mining and processing site in North America. Our success will drive the onshoring jobs, national security, and carbon-reduced future. Okay. Wow, look at all these people. Oh, they have a board of directors. Why is Kurt Hagman not on them? Man, Arnold Donald. What a name. Ryan Corbett. Elliot Hoops. Michael Rosenthal. James Litinsky. These just don't sound like real people. Marianne Lavin. Drew McKnight. Retired General Richard Myers. Randall Weisenberger. Okay. Well, that looks like that might be the site. That's cool. Okay. Let's keep reading what MP Materials wants to do. The industry is in the upstream and is going to be totally dominated by the Chinese. There has to be an American champion in this space, said James Litinsky. Okay, we just looked at him. So he's a real person and he talks. Chair and CEO of MP Materials. But then question Mr. James Litinsky, why are you selling to Chinese companies? The political stars have aligned for this moment. Department of Defense has been tracking rare earths problem for years, particularly after Beijing blocked Japan's access to rare earths in 2010. But the 2016 election and the Trump administration's confrontational approach to Beijing set the stage for a new focus on markets dominated by China, including rare earth mineral and processing, blah, blah, blah. Okay. This is an issue tricky for the Biden administration. Remember, again, it was 2022. Which has prioritized green energy, which, yes, that means electric vehicles. Rare earths are key components in electric cars and some batteries, yes. But some climate advocates have opposed increased spending in mining certain metals, include the proposed lithium mine in Nevada because of the potential environmental impact. I called it. I told y'all it was lithium. It's always lithium. Just ask Elon Musk. So far, Biden has continued Trump's approach to rare earth mining, a rare instance of bipartisan agreement. The administration evoked the Defense Product Act this year to increase domestic production of critical minerals, including rare earth, funding feasibility studies, and the expansion of new and existing sites. Chinese mining and processing of rare earths is particularly bad for the environment, says Jeff Green, a specialist in rare earths and lobbyist who has represented mines and defense contractors. He argues that Mountain Pass has developed ways to reduce the environmental damage. Yes, I'm sure they have. I would imagine China is just like mining these things and thinking about the consequences later. I don't know how much can be said for American companies doing the same, but at least he said that he's trying to reduce the environmental impacts. We've become really dependent on a dirty, inhumane source, China, and it's not tenable anymore, he said, referring to China's pollution mining practices. Across at least 2 administrations, the policies remain consistent. We need to end our dependence on Chinese rare earths. Agreed. Let me take a sip of water. The security threat is particularly acute for a group of minerals known as heavy rare earth minerals. Together, China and Myanmar produce 100% of the world's heavy rare earth minerals. Primarily dysprosium and terbium. Wow. Distinguished from light rare earths by their higher atomic numbers, heavy rare earth elements blanket the strongest rare earth magnets to protect them from high temperatures, said Ryan Castillo. Sorry, homie. Founder in the independent research group Atoms Intelligence. They are used in stealth aircraft, missile, and other military equipment. China's dominance of rare earth market is relatively new phenomenon. For the later half of the 20th century, Mountain Pass was the world's main supplier of rare earth minerals. Wow, Mountain Pass. But during the globalization of the 80s and 90s, China drastically ramped up its mining efforts. Yes, they did. U.S. companies struggle to match Beijing's low costs, which are driven by government subsidies, lower worker wages, and poor environmental standards. Mountain Pass closed in 2002 after toxic waste spill and did not reopen for years. Of course. So, who are we to say about the poor environmental standards when this mine was closed for toxic waste spill, and who even knows if it was okay to open it up again? When did it say it was reopened? Was it in 2012? Oh, man. Yes, it said, so it closed in 2002, resumed operations in 2012. 10 years passed while this toxic spill was sitting inside the mine. Okay, noted. All right. Across the country, other rare earth mines closed because they could not compete with China. Okay. China entered the market in the 80s, flooded the market with low price rare earth elements, and led to the going out of business to all of their mines globally, Castillo said. It leveraged that monopoly on rare earths to supply subsequently dominant of all value added steps from mine through to metal to magnet. In 2008, Mountain Pass was sold to Molycorp Minerals LLC. Okay, so the mine was being passed around while it was a toxic spill. A company formed to revive the mine. Molycorp invested $1.7 billion in 2010 to extensively modernize the site and bring it back into operation as a top global supplier. But after restarting production, Molycorp struggled to stabilize the site's operations and filed for bankruptcy in 2015. Let me guess. Enter MP Mine Operations LLC, now MP Materials. Was formed in 2017 for a second attempt at revising Mountain Pass Mine. It acquired the site out of bankruptcy in July of that year, boosted by millions of dollars of capital plus a $10 million 2020 investment from the Pentagon. Okay, so the Pentagon wants this mine. The Pentagon wants American mines to be mining rare earth minerals. Boosted by a millions of dollar capital plus a $10 million 2020 investment from the Pentagon, the company is now profitable. In the third quarter of 2022, it beats expectations with a revenue of $124.4 million. Going from raw ore to magnet is expensive, multi-step process that currently takes place across multiple continents. The first stage involves mining the raw materials, crushing it in a mill to form a fine powder, then concentrating the high-value material into a mixed bag of rare earth concentrate using flotation process. I'm guessing that's what that picture is right there. That's looking very frothy and very gross. It looks like the top of your pour over when the coffee is settling back again. All right, except it's not coffee, it's actually rare earth minerals. Okay. This can produce a lot of waste. MP Materials is one of 3% of mining operations. That's insane. The only one in the global rare earth industry that recycles water used for the process and produces dry tailings, said Mount Slough, Senior Vice President of Communications. Okay. So MP Materials is the only mine that recycles water used for the process for this. Okay. I don't know if that's the only thing that needs to be done to make sure it's a secure process environmentally safer process. But we'll see. Let's continue reading. During the second stage, which MP Materials will soon begin doing, the concentrate is run through a process of roasting, leaching, and chemical separation that purifies high-value materials. The final product is individual oxides in the form of a fine powder. Wow. MP prioritizes the production of the compound made up of neodymium, which I think is magnets too, and parasodinium. My apologies. Makes up roughly 99% of the rare earths in this rare earth magnet. Okay. But MP's planned heavy rare earth separation project, it will also produce other heavy rare earth minerals essential to magnetic and military equipments. The third stage of the process converts the oxides to the metals, alloys, and finished magnets used in advanced technology. No U.S. facilities do the work. China accounts for 92% of the metal, alloy, and magnetic conversion, while Japan accounts for 6%. Okay, well, at least Japan's our ally, so, we could just work with them. It's not like we would put tariffs on Japan, would we? But that, too, may be about to change. In September, MP completed the building shell for the company's future magnetic manufacturing facility in Fort Worth. Wow, I think that's in Texas. The company expects to be able to start producing metal and alloy magnets around 2025. We'll have to see where they're at. Currently, China's Shangxi, I guess, Resources Holding Company Ltd., a minority investor in Mountain Pass. Great. So we have Chinese investors in American companies. Mr. Cook, how do you feel about that? Holding around 7.7% share is responsible for distributing the mine's concentrate product to Chinese buyers. Ultimately, the finished magnets are sold to users around the world. Okay, so Chinese companies who own a little bit of American mining companies, of course, wants, some of that product to go to their country. All right. Mountain Pass alone will be able to fill all of the Department of Defense rare earth needs, Litinsky predicted, which is a very small piece of an overall market that Fortune estimated would grow to $5.5 billion in 2028. Najib Block did not rule out additional Defense Production Act investments in Mountain Pass or other mines for the future. Department of Defense recently invested in Lynas, an Australian rare earth mining company that has operations in Australia and Malaysia. The Pentagon has invested almost $200 million over the last 2 years in rare earths, specifically targeting neodymium and lanthanum. Okay. But she said the commercial market is lucrative. And the Pentagon's goal is to incentivize companies to invest their own money. We already gave a DPA investment, so now we're in the patient mode of seeing where they are going, because these things take time, she said. Other companies have been trying to start up rare earth mining and processing operations in other states, including Lynas in Utah and Utah-based Energy Fuel Cell Inc., but none have even broken ground yet. MP is the only one currently operating and will be the only one for some time, given it can take years for a new mine to come online, of course. MP's official agree that the effort must be led by private sector if it is to survive market forces. Of course. Of course, it always has to be private sector, even if it's going to benefit the public sector, which is the military. We have to have private industry do this process for us because that is America, I believe. All right. What both the Trump and Biden administration have done is use the power of the bully pulpit to signal that this is very meaningful, Sloucher said. But we believe this has to be a private sector led if it is to be resilient. Okay, but the public sector is already invested in it. They should have a little bit say on what's done. On Capitol Hill, the efforts to strengthen the United States supply chain has bipartisan backing. Najib Block said, supply chain risk is something that has been talked about for years, but it became acute in the pandemic and the invasion of Ukraine just compounded it, she said. All right. In the meantime, the haul trucks at Mountain Pass will continue transporting ore from mine to the crusher day in and day out under the cloudless California sky. This is really important industry for the country and the world, Litinsky said. Just like we have a computer and an iPhone in every home, there will come a day when there's a robot in every home. Yeah, Mr. Litinsky, I hope it's not weapons grade material robot or, war grade material robot. Oh man, okay. All right, that was a read. All right, so now we have a little bit more understanding on what this mine is. Let's go back to the live stream, or I mean to the Board of Supervisors meeting.
Yeah. Rare earth mining. I don't know whether that comes up now and then. Obviously, it's an area that has national security implications. I thought you have to have special permits. But I know or I was led to believe that the Chinese do a lot of the rare earth mining.
Which we
Some
just
of
found out
these
is true.
materials that have national security implications. Do you get involved in that at all? Or, because every time I start digging on this, it's like, if I tell you this, I have to kill you. Sounds like my wife. But if somebody is, I don't trust the government in China when it comes to some of these things, competition on or what have you. And I don't know if this has ever been brought up before, but we have a huge area. As I said, in my district, I think you have some.
Yeah, I
Do
guess 'cause
do
it's
mining
Mojave.
mining permits, would they be under the fee
Look
schedule?
she's trying so hard to
Man, I'm not
avoid this
familiar with that, and
conversation.
maybe
Yeah.
land use related.
So land use services, the planning department has jurisdiction over our mines in the county. I believe there's over 100 mines, including one important rare earth mine, I believe, that's out there. So yes, there is fees that we charge to permit those, and
So the federal government has to pay a fee, right?
we actually charge the operator of the mine for going out and ensuring that they're aligned with their permit requirements as we're required to enforce either on the state SMARA requirements or at the federal level.
Yeah, the reason I brought it up, I'm scratching my head about national security, and there have been some instances. I know that I'm not going to say the government of China has operated on with different rules, but if this is in my area or what have you, I never see much literature. It's you go in trying to find it, and it's like doesn't exist or something. Is this something we need a special closed circuit brief, or it's like the government's handling it, don't worry about it? I'm more worried about the Chinese, who arguably are, I'm not going to say our enemy or anything, but somebody that's digging around in an area with national security assets.
He's
if
acting
you
like the
will.
Chinese are actually here digging. It's
I
American
don't know. Who
companies
would give
digging,
us a
selling
brief
to the
on this?
Chinese.
Supervisor Cook, if you're willing, I would work with the CEO to see if this is something and the county council that we can discuss at a different time.
Oh,
It's possible too, maybe we set up a meeting with the mine, particularly out there who does rare earth mining. Perhaps they can enlighten us in some of the challenges and risks they're facing that would help us better look for ways we could enforce or assist.
I'll be
in
happy to
enforcement.
go with her as long as she's carrying a weapon.
Yeah, we're
Any
not having
questions
that
about
joke.
the fee hearing? No? All right. I do not believe we have any requests to speak on this, so I will close the public hearing.
I'll move it.
Thank you for the motion. Supervisor Hagman in the second. Vice Chair Baca, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, item number 76 is approved.
Very good. Item 77 is the introduction of the proposed fiscal year 2025-26 fee ordinance for Big Bear Valley Recreation and Park District. I will open the public hearing. I do not believe I have any requests to speak on this.
We do not.
Any board member comments or questions? We'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Second.
Thank you, Vice Chair Baca, for the motion and Hagman for the second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item number 77 is approved.
Thank you. Item 78 is the introduction of proposed fiscal year 2025-26 fee ordinance for Bloomington Recreation and Park District. I will open the public hearing. Any members of the public wishing to speak on this?
We do not.
Any board member comments or questions? All right, I will close the public hearing.
Hagman moves.
Thank you, Supervisor Hagman and Vice Chair Baca for the second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item number 78 is approved.
Item number 79 is the introduction of proposed fiscal year 2025-26 fee ordinance for various boards, governed county service areas and zones. I will open the public hearing. I do not have any requests to speak. Any board member comments or questions? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing.
Hagman seconds.
Thank you, Vice Chair, for the motion and Hagman for the second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any
Item number
abstentions?
79 is approved. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Item 80 is the introduction of fiscal year 2025-26 proposed fee resolution for ISMA. I will open the public hearing. I do not have any requests from the public. Any board member comments or questions? All right, I will close the public hearing.
Hagman moves.
Thank you for the motion, Supervisor Hagman, and the second, Vice Chair Baca. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Item number 80 is approved.
Item number 81 is the introduction of proposed fiscal year 2025-26 fee ordinance for San Bernardino County Fire Protection District. I will open the public hearing. Any members of the public wishing to speak on this?
No.
All right, any board member comments or questions?
Hagman moves.
I will close the public hearing and thank you for the motion, Supervisor Hagman. And Vice Chair Baca seconds. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Item number 81 is approved.
Item number 82 is the introduction of proposed fiscal year 2025-26 fee ordinance for the Flood Control District. I will open the public hearing, and I do not believe I have any requests to speak on this. Any board member comments or questions? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing.
Move it.
Thank you for the motion, Supervisor Hagman, and the second, Vice Chair Baca. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Item number 82 is approved.
Very well. Item number 83, 2025 Budget Financial Update, also being presented this morning by Matthew Erickson. Good morning again.
Good morning. Actually, Luther and I are going to tag team this one,
All
so I'll
right.
let him start.
I'll jump in and kick this off. So thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. So this marks the official kickoff of the county's 25-26 budget process. So though internally to the county, we have opened the our budget prep system. I don't know if it's still called that officially, like
SBP.
SBP. I like bud prep. Well, yes, because we can't get away from that. We have went ahead and our departments have been working over the past month to start to input data into our system. What we wanted to do today for the board is have Matthew give the board an overview of kind of current state of the economy locally, at the federal level, at the state level, kind of hit it from a couple different angles, just to kind of set the tone for what we're facing, some of the challenges, some of the positives, and where we're at as a county financially. So in a moment, I'll turn that over to Matthew. Next slide, please. Thank you. And just some quick areas where we're going to hit on. We'll look at some areas of focus that I'll cover on the next slide. Matthew will cover some economic drivers in the outlook, our financial outlook, and round it up with some risks that we're facing in the immediate future. And then I'll cover some next steps. Next slide, please. So one of the things, just kind of four cornerstones that we're approaching the 25-26 budget from at a staff level, we're really looking to try to use data to a greater extent to guide decisions. We are focused on recruitment and retention. This is an interesting time when we are seeing what I would call some instability at the federal level from the standpoint of employment. There are a lot of people out there with great government experience who we're looking at, trying to find some great ones.
Okay, so I think Luther said that he wants to hire federal employees that were laid off. He wants to hire them for county. Amazing.
And hire them to fill our about 15.5% to 16% vacant positions that we currently hold. So it's a great opportunity to go out there and scoop up some strategic talent. And so we're focused on that. And also, even though we had, as Supervisor Hagman pointed out, some quite a few years leave us today as in retirement, well earned, but still, nonetheless, we then have to, work to replace those individuals. So it's a great time to go out and look for talent. And now stability amid uncertainty. That's something that Matthew will also touch on here, as well as strategic planning and how do we seek opportunities responsibly and look for, in the midst of the times we're in, how can the county capitalize on some different things that maybe we in prior years may not have been able to do, but given the work of the board and the work of staff to put the county in a good financial spot, that there is some opportunity. So I'm going to turn it over to Matthew and let him take it away from here.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Luther. So yeah, I wanted, there's going to be lots of numbers that I'll be going over with you. I apologize. Feel free to interject with any questions that you may have, but I did want to hone in on one overall theme that we're seeing is in the midst of uncertainty for our county, which we always have. You all know we get hit with disasters all the time. We get hit with state budget impacts.
Okay, I didn't know
we take
tariffs
great
were
pride in
considered
the stability of our
unexpected
finances
disaster.
for the county to be able to weather a lot of storms. And so there is a lot of uncertainty that I'm going to be going through with you right now. I'll talk a little bit about the economy, but I'll also talk a lot about how we like to approach the budget and how we like to prepare for things that are uncertain in uncertain times. So with that, as you guys know, we look at economic drivers, and the last few years, since about 2022, one of the key economic drivers has been inflation. It was quite high a couple years ago in the 9% CPI growth range that we had, and we have seen some tempering. That tempering has largely been due to the Federal Reserve Board increasing interest rates, and that's what they do when there's times of high inflation. They increase interest rates, which then helps slow down the economy a bit. We've seen those rates rise as high as the 5-ish%, and we've begun to see a slight reduction in that. The Federal Reserve Board began to cut rates beginning in September. They have a couple more rate cuts planned, or at least anticipated for the upcoming year. Because inflation has begun to decline a little bit, we've actually seen year over year about a 2.7% increase in inflation, which is obviously far less than what we were at a couple years ago. That being said, the real new component that we have from an economic standpoint that's not been something we've really discussed about in the past, recently at least, is tariffs. So, one thing tariffs can absolutely do is increase the cost of all sorts of goods and potential services. And so a risk that is out there, what economists will call stagflation. Stagflation is a situation where you can see stagnant economic growth, high unemployment, and rising inflation. Although we have not necessarily seen that at this point, that is certainly something that is being discussed by many economists right now, and that's something we're looking close into. Along with that, I wanted to highlight. So, we have a couple economists that work for us. One of our main economists is Beacon Economics. They provide us forecasting, and they did provide us forecasting back in January. I wanted to highlight it because, basically what they told us back in January was, hey, we're pretty confident the economy is staying on track. We do not foresee a recession, but of course I bolded. The outlook for San Bernardino County could change if tariffs are imposed on key trading partners, triggering a trade war. As you know, and if you've seen in the news recently, that's an ongoing discussion right now. Although, there's discussion of Canada tariffs, Mexico tariffs, Chinese tariffs, along with on specific items like steel, automobiles. So although that is an ongoing discussion, it absolutely is something that we're paying very close attention to as we're looking forward into the budget. For our county in particular, I wanted to talk a little bit about our local economy and the importance of logistics. So logistics for us, the logistics sector, warehouses, obviously has been very beneficial for our county economically. And what I wanted to highlight a little bit, which is pretty interesting, is this employment-related data. Hopefully you guys can see that there. There's 4 different columns. The first 2 columns really represents change in employment on the logistics sector for the various Southern California counties since 2020. And as you can see, our county has done quite well on a comparative basis since 2020. We've seen 24% increase in employment. That is from 2020 up until basically today. But probably more importantly, if you look at it, the same data from 22 through today, it doesn't look quite the same. And so as you can see, we're seeing an 8.2% reduction. If you just take 2 years later, we've seen quite a reduction in the employment of the logistics sector for our county, really the most of any county. We've seen 10,000 jobs that have declined. And so that's something when our economy does well, when the logistics sector does well, but what we are focused on is if it's not doing quite well.
All right, this is something that could have been prevented. Because economists called it. We watched the Warehouse Empire a couple streams back, and we had economists from McKenna College saying that the jobs are going to dry out in warehouses, in the logistics industry. There was a big boom, but as you know, as things are getting figured out, there's going to be a drop in those jobs. There's also the future is automation with these jobs. With these industries. So jobs are going to go away even more. We're seeing, I don't even know why they didn't put this in red, because it should be in red. Minus 8.2%. Los Angeles has only lost 3%. Orange County we're just as bad as them. Riverside, not as bad. Why? Okay, let's continue to hear what Mr. Matthew Erickson says.
Well, how well we do.
Hell is
This next slide for you also kind of gets into that a little bit more. What you're looking at is basically the amount of warehouses that are being built and completed compared to how much we call absorption. And so absorption is basically the total square feet that's been occupied less the number of square feet that have been vacated. And so if you look, I wanted to point out this last year, 2024. So if you look at the blue lines, that's basically completions, like the number of square footage is being built in our county, and that's quite a bit. The 15,000 is in thousands, so that really represents 15 million square feet that's being completed in 2024. But more importantly, at least as we're looking at it, is the absorption. That is about 400,000 square feet net absorption, meaning that much more of space has been occupied compared to what has been vacated. If you look at some of the prior years, it's in the millions. So that's basically indicative of potential slowdown, and that's something we're looking closely into as well, especially for our economy. We are highly dependent on sales tax for some of our very important services that we provide for the county. So a lot of our public safety departments, and I'm going to go over this with you in a second, are really reliant on sales tax. And so when you look at the California economy as a whole, when we're talking about retail sales, I really like this slide because it really shows what's happened with our sales tax. If you look at, this is from 2019 all the way through now, this is percentage growth on retail sales statewide. That 60+% is 2021, directly after COVID, seeing 61% increase in retail sales is extraordinary. And that's what we saw for a couple years in our county, is sales tax growth being quite large. As you can see, it's tapered off quite a bit.
Yeah, it
we
sure
actually had a couple
has.
periods of declining growth in retail sales, and it's really just very mild growth that we're seeing as of right now.
Yeah, the COVID
I'll jump right into the
was
next slide
like
because
a
that really
false
it
hope,
shows the same from a county
honestly.
revenue standpoint. Sorry, I should stop. Any questions? I know I'm going through this pretty quick.
No, we
All
got
right.
this. No questions.
No, I was going to wait till the end, but while you bring it up, Matthew,
Gotcha.
I think a lot of stuff we got to put in context. So, you just go back to that sales tax. When we're stuck at home, everyone started buying and clicking at home, getting delivery.
Exactly.
And since we're the hub for most of Southern California for those warehouses, that gave us our peak during COVID. So that's abnormal. It's not something we should ever count on.
100%.
And then on
And
the,
I feel
on
like they counted
warehouse
on it a
absorption
lot.
rate, during that lead up, that was our growth. And there's not a lot of places left in the valley. They were doing warehouses for warehouses during COVID. And that was the expansion phase. And now we're back to, quote, normal times. We should see that level off. So I don't look at it as a major negative. I do
No,
also
I
see
mean,
by
I
part
don't
of the tariffs.
know.
I mean, it's going to be interesting because we have a lot of importers that store their goods and services here.
We
I
do
think
have
we'll
a lot
see
of
for this quarter being an
importers.
uptick to try to get ahead of the tariffs
Yeah.
and have that stock in hand. And then depends how long they go or if they stabilize, how long that trend goes. But also, we're starting to see dramatic investment into manufacturing throughout the country. Do we set ourselves up for some of those opportunities here in the county as well? So it is a mixed bag. I wish we had crystal balls and we could figure it out very well. I'm glad you're on top of it, but I don't see
I
that
mean, you
as-
have
as
other
major things. It's
economists that
really
you could talk
taking
to.
what's going on worldwide and then seeing that applies to us as a logistics hub.
No, those points are incredibly well founded. I think for us as a county, how we like to react from a financial perspective is that we don't like to overreact. You're 100% right. We do not know what the future holds. I never proclaim to. I don't like to make too much fun of economists, but economists don't know actually either too much exactly what's going to happen. We cannot predict
Okay,
the future, but
okay. I was like, we have economists. We can consult them. And what does he say? I don't like economists. I don't want to talk to them. Great, great. This is the county's chief financial officer saying that he does not want to consult economist on the economy. Got it. Let's run that back real quick.
Well, so it is a mixed bag. I wish we had crystal balls and we could figure it out very well. I'm glad you're on top of it, but I don't see that as major things. It's really taking what's going on worldwide and then seeing that applies to us as a logistics hub.
No, those points are incredibly well founded. I think, for us as a county, how we like to react from a financial perspective is that we don't like to overreact. You're 100% right. We do not know what the future holds. I never proclaim to. I don't like to make too much fun of economists, but economists don't know actually either too much exactly what's going to happen. We cannot predict the future, but what we can do is plan
they only
for
went
that
to
future,
school
and
for
that's
that,
kind of
but
what we're going
okay.
to jump into in a second. So, as it relates to Prop 172, Proposition 172, again, it's a half-cent sales tax that goes towards our public safety departments. This is very similar slide to what you just saw. This is our actual revenue growth or declines. We talked a little bit about this last year. We were projecting, we saw 17% sales tax growth in our county in 21-22. That was after an 11% sales tax growth. It was pretty extraordinary revenue growth that we saw. But as you can see, it's normalizing, and I think that's a great way of stating it, Supervisor Hackman, is it is more normalizing to where we saw 2% growth, but then we've seen some slight declines. The decline that we had last year was anticipated. We actually talked about this last year, and we were projecting going into this year some declines, and it's kind of coming to fruition exactly how we anticipated. We see a 1.6% reduction so far for the year. It's not extraordinary, but it is obviously something that we're seeing a bit of a slowdown. This is a slide I shared with you last year, and hopefully it's not too confusing, but I do love to show it because it's really demonstrative of how we approach the budget with the county. So the orange slide is actual receipts of that same revenue source that we have, while the blue, I say slide, columns, excuse me, or bars, the blue bars are what we actually budgeted or what we programmed in for our departments. So as you can see, I'll go backwards, we had huge growth that frankly, I was not anticipating in 21-22, 17% growth. And so our actual receipts were so much more than budgeted that we did not take that opportunity. We could have. So if you look at the dollar amount, we're in the $270 million range in 21-22. We could have that next year just said, hey, we're going to go ahead and program all of that. That's revenue we got. We're going to go ahead and give a bunch more money to do a bunch more programs within the county. But we took a tiered approach to doing that. And that's what you see in those blue columns is really slower growth. So it was still great growth. We saw about $25 million ongoing each of those years that we were able to give our sheriff's department, our probation, our district attorney departments some new programs that they were able to accomplish, but we didn't do it quickly. And so what you can see is in 22-23, we actually, since 22-23, have seen declining revenue sources in that same revenue source. But if you look at between 22-23 and 23-24, we actually were able to grow programs at a time that we saw a decline in the revenue. And the reason for that is because we were so much under the actual amounts that we were receiving, we were able to expand at times where other entities maybe needed to decline. And so what we're seeing, and I wanted to show you 25-26 projections, is of course, we're still trying to be prudent in the way that we're projecting our revenues for the upcoming year. We are not seeing as much of a delta between the budget and actuals, and that's okay. We feel pretty comfortable and confident that we, one, have plenty of reserves, but also two, that we are hopeful to see, and our economists are telling us we think we'll see some slight increases in sales tax for the upcoming fiscal year. A huge revenue source that we have in the discretionary general fund for the county is property tax. Property tax makes up roughly 80% of our ongoing discretionary revenue sources. That's the revenue sources that our board of supervisors, that you have control over to spend on any way that you want. And so property tax is very important to us as a county. That 80% represents roughly $945 million ongoing that we're using to support our residents. And so, it's been interesting. What we look at is, as the feds have increased interest rates, that makes it so that mortgage rates go up. That does make it so it's a little bit harder to see a lot of transactions of people buying and selling homes. That does create upward pressure on home prices that we've seen. And so this is for our county. You can see over this period of time, gradual increases in our median home price. That means for us, increase in property-related revenue for us as a county. But if you look at annual home listings, you'll see on the flip side a decline. And that's largely tied to, as I mentioned, increased interest rates equals higher mortgage rates. Less people are inclined to buy a home when you might be stuck in interest rates or mortgage rates that are quite a bit lower than what they historically were in the 2020 timeframe. And so what we see is a slowdown in transactions. For us as a county, what that also could potentially mean is we reappraise the value of homes when there's a transaction. When we're buying and selling, that allows us to have increased property-related revenue that comes into us at a higher rate than the Prop 13 standard increase of 2%. And so the less transactions we're having, the less growth that we're able to have. So although we're not anticipating declines necessarily in property tax, we are anticipating slight slowdowns. Fortunately, and I'll just jump into, not the next slide. Fortunately, we've seen roughly, over the last several years, almost 9% property tax growth for us as a county. Last year, this year, we saw a slight slowdown. It's 7% that we're estimating for the year. And what you'll see coming up is we tend to be pretty prudent and conservative in our approach to estimating those revenues going into the future. Luther mentioned federal funding uncertainty. And so it's uncertainty. It's not that I know anything necessarily really bad is going to happen, but I did want to provide just some context as far as the percentage share of our overall budget that the federal government is providing revenues to our county of. So we've got a $10.2 billion current budget in 2024-25. Let me just jump in real quickly. I wanted to highlight of that, the general fund is actually not that large of a share of our overall revenue sources. It represents about 11 to 12% of our overall revenue sources at a little bit over $1 billion. compare that to our federal and state funding, it's actually quite a bit less. And so we receive almost 29% of our revenue sources to provide support for our human service departments, for our public safety departments, through the federal and state government. The state government actually receives a large share of federal funding as well that they use as pass-through funding. So it's a pretty big chunk of our overall budget. Further, if you hone in a little bit more, federal funding, it makes up about $1 billion of the county's overall budget. And so in comparison, it's roughly the size of the general fund that our federal government is passing through funds for us to provide services that we have. Just wanted to provide that for some context. Again, we don't know, so we just pay attention. We make decisions based off of what we do know, not what we don't know. And so we're just paying a lot of attention to what's going on at the federal level. So as it relates to the budget for the upcoming year, I first want to hone in on that blue box that we like to highlight because it's indicative of our overall and the board's overall fiscal prudence on how we approach things with the budget. We are up to $74 million ongoing in general fund. That is, when I say ongoing, set aside every single year. That's been set aside, I say, for economic uncertainty, but it is not just ongoing money just going towards building reserves. In actuality, it's money that the board has set aside for specific things that we're able to do a lot of cool stuff for county residents, but we can, if there's a recession, we can actually look to reduce those things prior to looking at programs to cutting. And
Okay,
so
cool.
what I
So
mean by
sound
that
like
is we've
a
set
rainy
aside
day
$40 million
fund.
to build a better these buildings. We can then dollars actions approach to this only over 10% at the project process. There's is the estimate.
I broke it.
Supervisor.
There's
Oh,
a
my
character
goodness.
on TV, the books and everything. His name is Harry Bosch. And if you've been watching the series the last few weeks or so, it's Harry Bosch talking about some of the crimes going on with, have you seen it? The budget and preparing the budget? Are you working for that network? Because it's like the same crap that I'm hearing on TV. No, pardon the expression. But, I am not a budgeteer, but it's almost word for word. And absolutely fascinating. But by the way, be careful because there's a couple of people that are in your business that get killed because their numbers
What?
came out the wrong way.
Oh,
All right,
no.
well, let's hope I'm not. Am I all right?
Did you see it?
Luther, I'm okay? All right.
Oh, God.
Anyway, I appreciate.
Was that a threat?
I'm a history major, so I understood about 1.3.6 of what you said, but a lot of work goes into this. And one of the things that if you get it wrong, everyone's jump all over you. But if you get it right, everybody says, God, we got to give him another raise. And but
Matthew's waiting for that to happen.
what
Matthew's waiting for us to tell him we're going to give him another raise.
No, I said, don't put words in my mouth yet. But all I'm saying, I know that a lot of work goes into this, the numbers and everything else. And when you get the numbers right, you're a hero. When you get them wrong, you're gonna.
You're gonna
how it
pay?
is. So I just wanted to think. It's very, very complicated. I've been involved in this in other instances and a lot of work, and to try, and perhaps an even harder job is to translate some of the things you're saying to a dummy like me. That I am the proverbial dumb Marine, and so to do what you do on everything like that and put it into some other language, I know it's a lot of work, and I want to thank you.
I appreciate that. I just did want to mention I have a lot of staff, and I am not the smartest guy in the world as well, and they have to dummy it down for
What
me, and so
a
that's what ends up happening.
lot
So I can
of
explain that.
waste
I
of
just appreciate all the staff
time.
that helped me
What,
to get this
like, it was like a backhanded comment. I don't know what that was. Poor
First of all,
Matthew.
congratulations. I mean, I think over the last decade or even longer than that shows that San Bernardino County does take the long approach. And I see so many other local government entities, whether that be cities, school boards, whatever, that spend every cent they got on the good years, and all of a sudden when it slows down or reclines, they have nothing in reserve. And that's something this board's been very consistent with. The policy is being a very fiscal conservative steward of the taxpayers' dollars going forward. And there is so many other variables going in. When interest rates go higher, those homes do go up, but there's so many less that get reassessed. And we've seen it a lot with our local governments and over that, but I think else being a big part on that. No, this is going on. I think local
There's a lot. Is a conversation that's going federal.
A couple more slides if you finish up, and then we can go back to a broader discussion.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, just a
great.
couple more slides.
Thanks.
So, and we've actually gone over much of this. We wanted to talk a little bit about risks, but we've already done a lot. So, we've talked about federal funding uncertainty as a potential risk, recessions, stagflation, as much of a top all of the state. Good indicator, amazing fire, their county workshop. What that really represents is I plan to really upgrade for living.
County fiscally solvent. One of the things I appreciate is during the good times, one of the things this county has been able to do is we've been able to address a lot of deferred maintenance, which hadn't been addressed for many, many years, and make significant investments also. And having one look,
Yeah.
a lot of 38 out.
It is trustees on the SB side, and there's just an awful lot of stress to make sure that we're meeting our rate of return over there.
You and your team for the great work.
Thanks so much.
I don't want to belabor it. It is fantastic. It's a lot of work. And I know you and I sit as trustees on the SB side, and there's just an awful lot of stress to make sure that we're meeting our rate of return over there to then, to have the uncertainty over here.
Absolutely.
It's a lot. So thank you very much for everything that you and all the various departments are doing to keep a conservative budget. And I've heard pretty much all of us say that we recognize that it's time to probably tighten things up a little bit and to be more conservative in our approach. So I appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Right. We have one request to speak from the public on this item. Lorraine Enriquez.
Is she not here? Okay, here she comes. Let's
Hello, and thank
go
you for that
over
presentation.
public
Like
comments
everyone says,
just
it's
a
lot of
little
work.
bit, but
I just
you
want
know.
to talk about a few things that I feel like I'd like to see in the budget. To invest in fair and habitable housing, especially in the areas near public transit and high-quality job centers and schools.
Agreed.
Prioritize, oh, I lost my thing, hold on. I know I'm using my 3 minutes. Supportive housing as the most humane and cost-effective approach to ending homelessness in our county, increase oversight and accountability of services and public.
I really appreciate the work she's doing,
To members
but
of the, Madam Chairman of the board, members of the board, my name is Russell Howdegi, and I am a resident of Ontario, California. I also work for the San Bernardino Community Service Center, which provides free legal services to immigrants of San Bernardino County and all throughout the Inland Empire. Our offices are just right down the street. We've been there for over 20 years. We assist families to keep them together. We assist people who are fleeing persecution, and we put unaccompanied minors in the path to permanent residency and citizenship. We are here today to call on the County Board of Supervisors to draft and eventually adopt a resolution that affirms San Bernardino's commitment to ensure that it is a safe and welcoming place for immigrants, many of whom call this home. The numbers, there was just a discussion of the numbers, so let me just bring some numbers to you regarding this discussion. Here in the San Bernardino County, the majority of undocumented folks have U.S. citizen children, wives, and they also have family members who are permanent residents. So more than 50% of the undocumented folks here in San Bernardino County have U.S. citizen family members. The jobs they work in are in construction, hotels, manufacturing, and of course warehousing. They earn over 200% of the poverty guideline, and 30% are homeowners. So what these numbers show is that the undocumented community of San Bernardino County is
Our
part and partial.
residents.
They are a fabric, and they are part of this community. Their
That's
kids are in
right.
school, they're working here, and they're contributing, and they're contributing to the local economy.
They
So
sure are.
I think it's only fair that the county, since they are making these contributions to
That's
the
time.
Oh man, they cut him off.
Our next speaker is Garth Pazant, who will be followed by Jane Hunt-Rubel.
Criminal defendants, if you are unjustly tried in court, it is
Oh,
termed
this
malignant.
guy, as per usual. And
Good
this
morning.
lady again.
I'm not feeling very well because I ate a small breakfast and I didn't realize.
It was going to be so long, me neither.
That reimagining, we were talking about that, and we're going to have somebody from San Bernardino City attend our next meeting and talk about it because it's getting ridiculous, the traffic. But I also want to read an article, well, not the whole article, about reimagining legal reform in the wake of the wildfires by Jay Obernolte. And
Oh my
basically
goodness.
he's saying,
Our guy, Jay Obernolte.
that in light of he's blaming all this on environmentalists and
What?
CEQA. But I was
Jay
saying,
Obernolte
well, a lot of the
wrote an
wildfires, I would
article?
opt for legal slow burns, before fires happen. But he seems to admit that it's all about us people in CEQA, and he wants to reform it. Basically, I feel like I'm going to have a talk with him because basically what I've been talking, CEQA is under attack by both Democrats and Republicans in office for blaming us for everything, for stopping growth. But no, they go
That's
ahead and.
time.
Oh, thank you.
Oh man, they just
Thank
be
you very much.
cutting
Eddie
people
Torres,
off
followed
today.
by Wilfredo Aguirre.
Hi, good morning, County Board of Supervisors. My name is Eddie Torres. I am the Policy Director with the Inland Coalition for American Justice. We were really proud in January to support the San Bernardino Unified School District resolution for a safe and welcoming environment for all children, for all of their students, regardless of their immigration status. We were really proud to pass Riverside County's resolution with a similar vein, and we hope and we demand that the County Board of San Bernardino do what's right and take those steps accordingly to protect the undocumented population, which is
All right,
500,000, roughly estimate, of folks that live here in this beautiful county. They do much more than produce and work at warehouses and construction sources that they ongoing for the illegal oil empire. There are about 10 proceedings, only a handful of us, and a couple of them are here in this room. We are at capacity already. We need more resources. We need the Riverside County supporting immigrants. San Bernardino County had the highest ICE arrests in the whole country. In the whole country
Really?
in 2018.
San Bernardino.
In 2025, things
Oh,
could be much, much
2018.
starker because they're arresting folks that have no criminal background whatsoever, right? They're picking up people and taking them to El Salvador, to Guantanamo Bay. Things
Supervisors,
are
we
much more
need
urgent,
your
and we need your support.
vote. Someone's holding up a sign in the back.
Thank you very much. Wilfredo Aguirre, followed by Gabriela Perez. Lizbeth Albert. Brea.
IJ and IEIYC, which serves immigrant families across our region, that affirms we'll
Man,
call
okay.
this county home.
I think we're gonna have
Last
to
month,
call
Riverside
it.
County passed
I'm tired. It's going on like 2.5 hours of streaming. Have a good night, everyone. We'll continue this later, although not this stream.